We are all implicated when we allow other people to be mistreated. An absence of compassion can corrupt the decency of a community, a state, a nation. Fear and anger can make us vindictive and abusive, unjust and unfair, until we all suffer from the absence of mercy, and we condemn ourselves as much as we victimize others. The closer we get to mass incarceration and extreme levels of punishment, the more I believe it's necessary to recognize that we all need mercy, we all need justice, and perhaps we all need some measure of unmerited grace. Bryan Stevenson, Just Mercy.
Hello there, my name is Maggie and welcome to my channel. This is our first ever episode of Tea Time with Maggie. As you can probably tell by the title of this video, today we are going to be discussing Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. So grab your cup of tea or coffee and let's get going. I'm not the best at putting in my own words the description of a book and telling people what it's about, especially with a book such as this one, because there are so many stories within it. So this is the description on the inside of the book. It says, Bryan Stevenson was a young lawyer when he founded the Equal Justice Initiative, a legal practice dedicated to defending those most desperate and in need, the poor, the wrongly condemned, and women and children trapped in the furthest reaches of our criminal justice system. One of his first cases was that of Walter McMillan, a young man who was sentenced to die for a notorious murder he insisted he didn't commit. This case drew Bryan into a tangle of conspiracy, political machination, and legal brinksmanship, and transformed his understanding of justice and mercy forever. Just Mercy is at once an unforgettable account of an idealistic, gifted young lawyer's coming of age, a moving narrative of the lives of those he has defended, and an inspiring argument for compassion in the pursuit of true justice. So I first read this book on the recommendation of my mother. Not only did the movie just come out, but also the college campus she works at recently had Bryan Stevenson come and give a speech. So everyone on campus, including her little employee book club, was reading the book. So she read it and then she told me, she's like, you need to read this book. I think you'd really enjoy it. And I did. I don't say this a lot. I do read a lot, but I don't often say that I think everyone should read a book, because I recognize a lot of the books on the shelf behind me are ones that while I enjoy them, many people might not. This one, though, it's not even about whether people enjoy it. It's about the message it spreads. I truly do believe that the messages he sends in this book are something that everyone needs to know. And one of my teachers asked me, she said, why do you think students such as yourself should read this book? And my biggest answer is awareness. We are about to enter the scary world in society, and we'll be voting, we'll be part of the government, taking an active role, and we can't do that if we are ignorant of the true position our government of it is in, the true happenings inside of it. And I'll be honest, I try to be aware, but I had no idea that any of this stuff was happening in our justice system. The things he was saying, the children on death row, or spending life in prison for something they did when they were 13 years old, the amount of people on death row who didn't even do what they've been charged with, especially in areas where it's entirely on race. The main case he discusses here is Walter McMillan, who was basically charged because they didn't have anyone else to charge, and he was a black man living in Alabama. So I do think that everyone should read this book, and the biggest thing, like the book I can compare it to best, is To Kill a Mockingbird. I read To Kill a Mockingbird in the 10th grade, I think, and I truly do believe that that's a book everyone should read, because we don't want to remain ignorant to the world. And I think this is even more important than To Kill a Mockingbird, because it's a true story. You can't look at it and say, well, that didn't happen. Because while To Kill a Mockingbird was partially based on Harper Lee's life, it wasn't entirely, not all of it was a true story. Tom Robinson wasn't a real man. And you can't say that with Just Mercy. You look at it and you know that all of the people in this book really existed. And one part of the book even talks about a 60 Minutes episode made in 92 when Bryan Stevenson was trying to get Walter Macmillan released. 60 Minutes took an interest and they made a video, and when I was reading this book, I watched that episode of 60 Minutes because I found it really interesting to see all these people I was reading about, what they actually looked like. And it was also interesting when you watch the trailer for the movie that just came out with Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx, because you can look at what that people actually looked like and what the characters or like the actors portraying them looked like, because some of them I think did a really good job with it. And I will include the links to both the 60 Minutes episode and the Just Mercy trailer in the description box below. This book contains more than just Bryan Stevenson's case with Walter Macmillan. It goes through basically his entire career with the Equal Justice Initiative of trying to get justice in places where it's not been seen. And he talks about this just mercy, where justified mercy is mercy given when it's not deserved. He said that the most powerful mercy is given to those who don't deserve it. And it's that power that can help change someone's life. And I think another reason that people should read this book isn't just to be aware, but so that they realize the compassion that is needed in our society. So much happens to so many people, and we don't look at what's really happening to them. So I think that it is important that we see that we do need mercy and compassion and empathy to understand people and to do the right thing. I also think that the importance of this book goes beyond just a book, and it goes into our government. A lot of the time, people don't really see what's happening. They don't understand what's happening in their government or in their society until it's shown to them, whether that be in a movie or in a book or in a song. It shows people that this is what's really going on. And that's what this book does. As I said previously, I didn't know that any of this was happening. I didn't realize that so many bad things were happening to people. I also think that one of the most important lessons from this book there are a lot of things I admire about Bryan Stevenson and Walter Macmillan. Walter Macmillan went through he was on death row for 6 years, and yet he forgave people. He went on with so much strength despite everyone beating him down and putting him in the lowest place you could be. And Bryan Stevenson he went through, he came from a more troubled area. He went to Harvard. He made a difference. He went to the EJI, the Equal Justice Initiative, and he started changing the lives of other people. He worked hard to make sure that there was some justice for people who needed it. And that's something that I think should be really admired. That's something I personally admire, and I would dream of doing someday, is making that big of an impact on people's lives. As far as what I would rate this book, I am often a generous rater. I will say that. But I would only give this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars because, in all honesty, while it was a phenomenal book, he covers so many cases with so many different people that it was hard to keep track of them. So when he would talk about, chapters later, he would mention a name, and I would have to go back and look at what they did and what their name was because I didn't remember. So that is, my one criticism of this book. But other than that, it's a phenomenal book. I think that everyone should read this. Overall, I would give this 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's a phenomenal book. I recommend it to everyone that will listen. If you are thinking of picking up a copy of this, then pick it up, read it, go see the movie, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. Thank you for coming to another episode of the first episode of Tea Time with Maggie. I will be back again soon with another book.